In this lesson, we shall learn about some basics of distances, as far as aircraft operations are concerned. In that, we will learn about some concepts of runway distances. The runway is the very surface from which an aircraft takes off and lands. So, the distance of the runway is a critical aspect of aircraft performance. The subject and the regulatory requirements are vast, but we shall stick to those aspects which are specific to our topic. According to the International Civil Aviation Organization, a runway is a defined, rectangular area on a land aerodrome prepared for the landing and takeoff of aircraft. Runways may be a man-made surface, often asphalt, concrete, or a mixture of both, or a natural surface, grass, dirt, gravel, ice, or salt. Firstly, the threshold. The very beginning or the end of the runway are marked by elongated, rectangular white blocks. This is called the threshold. This in fact marks the beginning and the end of the runway. Some old-time instructors may refer it to as piano keys or sometimes dumbbell also. To be precise, all distances measured are from the threshold. In this lesson we shall learn some new concepts and their terms. They are stopway, clearway, takeoff run available, takeoff distance available, landing run available, accelerate stop distance available. Firstly, the stopway. Stopway is defined as a defined rectangular area on the ground at the end of takeoff run available, prepared as a suitable area in which an aircraft can be stopped in the case of an abandoned takeoff. Please recall our lesson 1, wherein we had discussed an engine failure on takeoff run. If an aircraft were to suffer an engine failure on takeoff, one of the choices for the pilot is to reject takeoff. In such a case, the remaining runway length should be adequate to bring the aircraft to a complete safe halt. Sometimes, in existing airports, either the runway length was not adequate to meet the performance requirements of heavier aircraft, or a bit of additional length could provide commercial advantages in terms of uplift of higher payload. Either way, the stopway was a good alternative to actually expanding the runway length. Please notice that the stopway is only for use for a reject takeoff scenario in case of an engine failure. I apologize. Not only in case of an engine failure, but any failure forcing a reject takeoff. We shall now discuss some characteristics of the stopway. Width shall be same as that of the runway. Slope. The slope and transition to stopway shall comply with that of the associated runway. Strength. Capable of withstanding an aeroplane which has abandoned takeoff. Surface friction coefficient. The surface shall provide friction coefficient not significantly less than that of the associated runway when wet. As we can see, the requirements of the stopway are not as stringent as that of the runway. Yet, it provides adequate strength, capable of withstanding an aircraft that has rejected takeoff. This provides fairly reasonable commercial benefits to operators with high performance and heavy aircraft. Next, the clearway. It is defined as a defined rectangular area on the ground or water under the control of the appropriate authority, selected or prepared as a suitable area over which an aeroplane may make a portion of its initial climb to a specified height. The clearway is the portion from the runway threshold and extending beyond. It is in this space The airplane will carry out its initial climb immediately after liftoff. Please notice that the clearway includes the stopway as well. The clearway will not extend beyond half the runway length. The clearway needs to be of 75 meters width, either side of the center line. Also, there can be no obstructions protruding above the 1.25% gradient line from the beginning. In this example, this obstruction is protruding in the clearway space and therefore not allowed. The second one is allowed since this does not protrude in the clearway airspace. Just to give you an idea, at a distance of 6,000 feet, a height of 75 foot will form the 1.25% gradient line. I wish to emphasize, at this point, that it is not mandatory for a runway operator to prepare and declare stopway and clearway. If the runway length is adequate, then most runways do not have any stopway or clearway. Takeoff run available. The length of runway declared available and suitable for the ground run of an airplane taking off. Simply put, distance from threshold to threshold. Stopway is not included for the takeoff run available. Landing distance available. The length of runway declared available and suitable for the ground run of an airplane during the landing till the aircraft comes to a complete stop. Simply put, distance from threshold to threshold. Stopway is not included for the landing distance available. Accelerate stop distance available. An aircraft, when on a takeoff roll, suffers a major problem, forcing it to reject takeoff. Now the pilot has to take actions to reject takeoff and should be able to bring the aircraft to a safe halt. The distance of the stopway is also included in such a case. Since additional length is available, additional uplift of payload could be possible. The entire distance from the beginning of takeoff roll to the end of stopway is the accelerate stop distance available. Takeoff distance available. Let us take the case of an aircraft on takeoff. If the takeoff is uneventful, the pilot would continue with a normal takeoff. Alternately, if the aircraft develops a serious issue, still the pilot has the option to continue with the takeoff. In such a case, it is important that the space in which the initial climb is done, the airspace is free. Also, the aircraft has to attain a minimum safe height and speed for safe operation. We shall learn about these in the following lessons. Thus, the distance from the beginning of takeoff roll to end of clearway, the space in which the aircraft will carry out its initial part of takeoff to attain a safe height and speed, is the takeoff distance available. I have summarized what we learned. Have a good look at the figure. I am sure this is an easy one for you to answer. Thank you.